Hi everyone, welcome to Game 7 in the Brilliancy series. This game was Vassily Smyslov versus Zoltan Ribli in the candidate semi-final of 1983. Smyslov was 62 while this game was played, whereas Ribli was about half that age. But Smyslov had vast experience. He was world champion in the 50s at some point, and this makes us in for an enthralling game. The ratings at the time were Smyslov 2600, Ribli 2615. Smyslov was white and opened with d4, after which comes knight f6, knight f3, e6, c4 and now d5, transposing back into a classical d4, d5 defense. And after knight c3, c5, c takes d5, knight takes d5, we are now in the semi-Tarrasch variation of the Queen's Gambit declined, which is a bit like a Tarrasch, but black doesn't get an IQP and white often gets one, but on the other hand, black isn't as active, so it's like a plus and a bad side. And white here can play e3 or e4. e4 is the more ambitious move, but Smyslov plays e3, knight c6, bishop d3, bishop e7, castles, a3. So white can build up a battery on the b1 to h7 diagonal, but a knight b4 would disturb it, so white wants to control the b4 square. C takes d4, e takes d4, and now white has got an isolated queen's pawn. And I'll tell you a few rules about these positions. In favour for the guy with the IQP, you can have outposts for the pieces which are controlled by the IQP. It offers good attacking chances, an active piece play in an open position, and you must be prepared to attack, and you should try and keep pieces on. And the worst case scenario for an IQP is when it's a pure heavy piece endgame and it's all blockaded by a queen and two rooks, and that is awful. Trust me, it is awful. Also, the defender should try and blockade it, because that square is an outpost, because there isn't a pawn next to it that can kick it away. And also this means that the IQP can't advance, because if you can advance the IQP at a favourable moment, then it is good for you. And then it is a fixed weakness and can be attacked. And black doesn't hesitate to attack it with bishop f6, queen c2, where now if knight takes d4, bishop takes d4, now comes check, and bishop e4, and white's lost the IQP and black's king position has been compromised. So he plays h6, and now rook d1, queen b6, now there is three pieces hitting the pawn, bishop c4, and now if knight takes d4, bishop takes d4, now would come knight a4, diverting the queen off the defence of the bishop. However, it isn't quite as simple as that, because after queen c7, rook takes d4, black can fork the pieces with b5, and the bishop's pinned to the queen, so the b5 pawn can't be taken. However, white now has a crushing attack with bishop takes h6. If f5, then rook takes d5 is crushing, because if the rook is taken, then bishop takes d5 check wins the black queen. B takes c4 and leads to rook g4 with a collapse on the point g7, and b takes a4 meets the same fate. So black plays rook d8, supporting the knight, so there really is a threat on the pawn, and white has to go passive with knight e2. However, the knight is being recycled to a more active post on the king's side, and now bishop d7, where black's completing his development, and now can now play rook c8 with potentially dangerous threats down the c line. And now queen e4, knight c e7, and bishop d3. And now black has a few options here. Black could play knight g6 to block the battery out, but that isn't really necessary, because queen h7 check actually isn't dangerous. And now might come h4, bishop b5, h5, takes, knight g7, and knight e5. And white's got a good attacking position here in return for the IQP. So black works out that queen h7 check isn't dangerous, and decides to move his d7 bishop to the wrong square. Bishop b5 is better because it doesn't lose a move, because as we are going to see, bishop a4 loses a move because the bishop ends up on b5 anyway, and also white's rook comes to e1, which turns out to be a very good square. Black should have played bishop b5, check, king f8. If check, then knight g8, bishop h7, and king e7 are threatening to trap white's queen with g5, and bishop d3 is the only defence, but white's queen is hopelessly missed out of play, and black has got good play here. So white should play knight g3, bishop takes, queen takes, rook ac8 and h3 with a complicated position with chances for both sides. White's got more space and active pieces, but black's development is better, and white also has his IQP blockaded, making the position dynamically equal. Although, to be honest, I would probably prefer to be black here, but you could be any colour there and still have a decent position. So bishop a4, check, king f8 and rook e1, bishop b5. Black admits defeat, and after bishop takes d5, queen takes d5, knight g3. White now begins a very vicious attack on the black king. Knight g6 and now knight e5 coming to the outpost square. Bishop takes e5, d takes e5, king e7 looks crushing. I say queen takes g7, rook h8 threatening rook g8, but now comes knight f5 check, pawn takes and e6 with a crushing attack on f7. So knight d7 was played, trying to cover up, but now comes a powerful move, bishop takes h6, where the bishop is immune due to mate. So knight takes e5 was played. If bishop takes e5, then white has a very strong exchange sack with rook takes e5, knight takes e5, queen takes g7, king e8 and d takes e5. And white's threatening stuff like queen f8 check and rook check, winning the knight, and some right nasty threats against the black king. But white also has two pawns and a bishop for the exchange, so white is winning here. So knight takes e5 was played, and now d takes e5, bishop takes e5, a4, queen d5 would give black a better position with strong central play. So white plays the incredibly powerful knight h5, which attacks g7 3 times, attacks the bishop on f6, and black's knight is still on pre. And black admits he's going to lose a piece, well, give the piece back. So he plays a clever move, knight f3 check. The point being is that when white takes, white at least has got a fractured pawn structure, even though he's a pawn up. And after knight f5, white, if bishop e3, king e7, knight takes f6, rook h8 is played, and white's queen is trapped. So that is a blunder, so he has to play knight takes f6. And after knight takes h6, black is threatening stuff like queen g5 check, but now comes a beautiful clearance sacrifice with d5. The idea is to clog up the 5th rank, so black's queen can't get in to give any annoying checks or anything, and then the attack is unstoppable. Queen h8 check, king e7, queen takes g7, loses because knight f3 check had a point which was to open the g line, and now tactics like these are possible where rook g8 and after knight takes, rook takes, white loses the queen for insufficient compensation. So d5, and after, well, there's a few moves tries here. If knight f5, then queen g8 check, king e7, rook takes e6 check, pawn takes, queen takes, king f8 and knight h7 is mate. If g takes f6, then d takes e6 check, king h1, f takes e6 and now rook g1, queen f4 and rook g7. And now mate is unstoppable by queen f8, and black can try for a perpetual, but the checks soon run out. And now there's no way to stop mate next move. So black tries queen takes b2. And now, see if you can spot, you'll need to stop the video for this. There is a long forcing combination that in a few moves will win black's queen, quite a long combination. If you want to try and spot it, which will benefit your chess, then please stop the video now. But for those who haven't stopped the video, I shall explain it. You check here, and after king e7, you play rook takes e6 check. The idea is to take the pawn on g7 with check, and then white's queen is lined up with black's queen, and then white's knight can move with a discovered check. However, you may have seen that there isn't a square for one. So f takes e6, queen takes g7. If king d6, then knight e4 check automatically wins the queen. So knight f7. And now it looks like white hasn't got a square to give the discovered check from because white's pawn's in the way. But there of course is a beautiful move now, which you'd have had to spot for the combination, which is d6 check, clearing the d5 square. And now after the pawn is munched, now knight d5 check, rook takes d5 and queen takes b2. And now white has got a queen and pawn for a rook and knight, which is a big material advantage. And also black's king is exposed, and there is an immediate threat of queen takes b7 check, which keeps white the initiative. And now there is a bit of manoeuvre in. Now the players are adjusted to the technical phase. Now queen h4 check is threatened, so rook h8, and now h4, which cramps black's knight, which is passive, and now it's incarcerated and can't come to g5, which could potentially work up some dangerous counterplay against the white king. Rook hd8, rook e4, and now a final blunder with knight d6, which loses on the spot. Rook f5, king g2, and rook d5 covers up the king and provides more resistance, although white would win in the long run. Knight d6 runs into this nasty little check, and every move is bad here. King g6 allows this. King f7 allows check and takes. King e7 allows queen g7 check. Knight f7, queen g6 attacking e6. Rook 8 d6, rook f4, rook f5, rook takes, pawn takes, queen takes, and white's easily winning this. The h pawn is going to queen. And king f5, worst of all, runs into rook f4 check, stunning move. If the king takes, then this is mate. If king g6, then black is mated by rook g4 check, king h7, rook g7 check, king e8, and now queen c7. And there's no way to stop mate on e7. So black picks the least of the evils with e5, but now comes, if you want to try and spot a way to win the pawn, then please stop the video now. Just a little small combination, more simple than the other one. The answer is the double pawns actually help you here. Rook takes e5, and after rook takes f4, and now the rook is being won back. And because after knight f7, f takes e5 check, white has won another pawn because knight takes e5, and the other double pawn wins a knight. So king e6, and now the final move is queen c4 check, which drives black's king back, and now white is going to advance his pawns, and white's up the equivalent to a piece anyway. So it's time to resign, and this shows that despite being over 60, you can still be a very strong player, because this is probably one of Smyslov's finest games, and I am happy to share it with you. I'm glad to. And by the way, please could you subscribe to the channel, like the Facebook page, and follow us on Twitter, please. I shall put the links in the description box, but for now, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please leave any comments and thoughts. Thanks very much.